Hello and welcome to our discussion on medicinal plants and ceremonies. This is a pretty controversial topic. I'm going to talk about the energetics of what I personally see. Before we dive into the specifics of the video today, in case you don't know me, I am Chelsea. I am an intuitive energy worker and former naturopathic doctor. I use my clinical experience and also the gifts of basically seeing the truth of situations to help my clients see the truth in themselves, separate themselves from their pain, their programming, and instead tap into their potential. I look at the energetics in someone's energy field as well as what's in the physical body, and all of that information is combined in a very personalized approach to health and healing. And currently my one-on-ones are where you're going to get the best value and experience and journey with that information. Joyful Body Connection would be my recommendation if this at all speaks to you. And then other than that, the collective information that I sometimes tune in on is now found on YouTube. So stay tuned for this and other videos. Please like and subscribe if this is resonating for you. So in today's video, we're going to talk about ayahuasca, medicinal mushrooms, and cacao. So these are all plants and fungi as well that are basically used for tapping into intuition, other dimensions, other states or realms of possibility. And each one has a different energetic signature. Overall, I've talked about this before, the way that some of these plants have been used in past is different than how it's used currently. I've spoken before on the word shaman and how that has been sort of adapted to mean something different. So from what I can see energetically, that word is supposed to mean someone in a lineage that has wisdom passed down through a generational line or a cultural line, or I should say an ancestral line. So there's some sort of ancestral connection that would allow someone to use the phrase shaman in truth. So that's already setting up the stage for a lot of these ceremonies where someone is labeled as a shaman, but they do not have that ancestral connection or that energetic lineage that is meant to be part of the ceremony. And what can happen, what I've seen, is that there's a bit of there's a waver in the energy then. So when someone is ancestrally acting as like basically a vessel for that information, the wisdom that's connected to that plant and that ceremony, it works very differently in their body versus someone who is just interested and curious to become a shaman and do a ceremony. And the reason I think this is because there is an inherent wisdom in each plant, and there is an inherent medicine in each plant. However, that's going to change its energy depending on who the one directing that energy is. So if you have someone who has a certain context culturally for a plant experience, they're going to be able to basically translate that experience in the most aligned or truthful way, the way that the plant has sort of aligned that to come through. If you have someone else who has just, taken a weekend course or whatever to actually do a ceremony, they're not going through all of these sort of rituals and experiences at the energetic level to be able to be a strong vessel. When you're not a strong vessel for that energy and that information, and there's weak boundaries around that, there are entry points for other negative, lower vibration entities or energies to come in that can then infiltrate that ceremony experience for others who are there, who you're conducting the ceremony for. So I have had multiple clients at this point where they have actually had experience with darker energies or entities because of a ceremony that was not held with strong boundaries, with that energetic container, with the missing link of that ancestral connection from what I've seen, or at least the energy of that ancestral connection. So it doesn't always mean you have to have a mother or a grandmother or whatever who is a shaman, but there's some energetic signature that needs to be present in order to really hold the energy of that plant medicine wisdom in its truth and its truest form, I should say. So when I was looking at the energy of a few different medicinal plants, I wanted to actually show you what I sort of visually see. So with ayahuasca, what I see is sort of this line going up and then this big sort of ballooning of energy. And so what it seems to me is that's representing is that there is a big, there's a wide array of what ayahuasca can tap into or tune into. So it can go over a very large area, meaning basically if there's different traumas, if there's physical body stuff, if there's mental stuff, if there's energy, spiritual stuff, it can kind of umbrella all of that information and work with that information to move the information, shift the information, bring you the insights that you're requiring. Again, though, that would be from the cultural context, not so much what some ceremonies tend to be this day and age. With something like medicinal mushrooms, it looks like a very straight line, especially if it's the extract like psilocybin. It's like a straight line up and down, but it's a very narrow range. And it looks very specific, like to a certain brain frequency. So that would be if there's a certain, it looks more in the mental space that you're needing to access something there. And again, it really depends on the person. This would be more of a kind of how your biology is set up and also your energetic field. So it may be, you may be on that one frequency line that is kind of required to fit into that little notch to access the information you need. But if not, then it could be not aligned basically for you. Now, cacao is interesting because it's the only one that I'm actually aligned to participating in. And the energy of that is a lateral connection from what I could see and from what I also experienced. It's not necessarily a massive awakening. A lot of people talk about it as a heart opener, but what I can see is all these other plants go upwards in their trajectory, but the cacao actually goes more laterally, like horizontally. And so it's connecting across different planes. It looks like it connects human to human as well, and it grounds, and then also leaves room for what's above and what's below. So it's an interesting lateral frequency that shows up. Overall, as with anything, it needs to be aligned for you. So we want to know what our system is in agreement with, in alignment with. We want to know what our system is requiring. And above all, I think you are so much more powerful than you let yourself believe due to programming, past experience, whatever it is. But oftentimes, from what I see, especially Westerners aren't meant to engage in certain ceremonies in the cultural ways that they have been derived from, because our system is simply not set up in the same way to handle the energy in that way, to handle the full context of the energy. And a lot of times, especially with these more powerful plant medicines that are more specific in the past to certain cultures and areas, it can actually, again, open up to these other energies that you don't want to be playing in just because someone is not aligned to hold the space for that ceremony in the way that it is truly meant to be done. So always use discernment. Always try and tune into yourself, your inner intuition. If you need help with that, again, I'm always here to help you clear out some of that gunk and that funk from past experiences, programming, the stuff that happens in our life that makes us believe that we're something that we're not, and really coming back to the truth of who you are. Because I know you can do it, and I know that you are so much, again, so much more powerful than you have been led to believe. And I hope that you start to feel that. Take care until next time. Let me know what you thought about this video. And if you have any questions, I'd love to dive deeper into this if that would be of service to you. Take care until next time.